Hey everyone, today I'm gonna teach you how to draw fire with ballpoint pen. And this video is actually a follow-up video of another one where I draw the dragon head that is gonna spit the fire. So if you're drawing along with me and you want to do that one too, I will link to it here and it should be here in the screen. But you can also use this video as a standalone tutorial if you want to draw fire for your own creatures. So I can keep on rambling, but yeah, let's get started. So now it's time to draw in the fire into this sketch. We're gonna make the dragon spit its fire towards this corner, where it's gonna hit the corner and kinda erupts here into flames. So very light. Again, I hold the pen a little bit further back. I'm gonna shade in the direction that he's gonna spit, and it's gonna come from this tube here. That goes down his throat to his fire glands that are somewhere around there in the inside. That is how I imagine that, because our dragons are fantasy creatures and we can create him any way we want to. But this is just how I do that. It's coming out with quite a bit of force. That's what she said. Now we're gonna keep it neat, okay? I always tape down my paper because otherwise I move it around too much. But we're gonna darken the corner. And what we need to keep in mind with drawing fire is that we cannot draw light without drawing dark. And that is why I'm shading this part in first. So I can put the tape back. And the thing is, with drawing fire, we tend to overthink it, because fire is something that is very hard to control, and we need to draw it that way as well. So we shouldn't care too much about the way that it's gonna look, as long as we keep in mind that fire has dark areas and light areas. Because if we want to draw the lights of the flames, we're gonna need contrast. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna draw shapes. We're gonna have some here and some here. And some smaller ones. The shapes are messy. Because like I said, it's gonna erupt into flames. It's gonna hit the edges of the paper and basically setting fire to it. And it's gonna take a while before it will start to look like fire, because we really need to work in layers. I hold the pen a little bit further back, and so I draw light. And I make sure that I draw very free, because fire is free, like I said, it's difficult to control, and we're gonna draw that way as well. We're basically mimicking the fire. because fire will not be evenly spread. There's a lot of air in between, and you will kind of look through the fire, so you will see some dark areas from behind the fire as well. And because this comes out with folds, we're gonna draw some straight lines. And the further the fire will get, the more force it will lose. So it will spread wider there. And the further it gets, the further the fire will go. And when it hits here, there will also be a lot of smoke, and we're gonna draw that in as well. It will be kind of a mix of the fire and the smoke. And we're gonna do that with a little bit of like half round shapes, like you know, the clouds can have the same shape. And what I do, I just position them by just drawing a light line, and I'll use that to have a direction in which I'm gonna shape later on. And the thing is, with ballpoint pen, we can use pressure right away to make some areas darker. When we make something darker, the other part of the drawing will come out more because it's lighter automatically. And now it may seem like I'm rambling and I'm just making small ovals and shapes, but you will see with this technique later on in the drawing that it will start to click together and it will start to look like fire eventually. And this is actually why I try not to erase, because we sometimes, when we work with pencil, and that doesn't go for everyone, and it's also what you prefer working with, but when I draw with pencil, I tend to erase too fast, and sometimes I think I make mistakes, and I think what I'm drawing is bad, but it's just an ugly phase that I'm in, and I need to keep going. And when I draw with ballpoint pen, I can't erase, so I kind of have to accept the mistakes, and I'll just see later on in the drawing what I'm gonna do with them. And sometimes I'm like, yeah, that didn't turn out too bad. That's starting to make sense. And sometimes it just needs to click together. So I'm shading with ovals, and because these are like this is like smoke where it hits the corner. It will have like a dark area here, and because I'll make it lighter towards the right, because of that it will give that a round shape and make it more three-dimensional. And here I'm gonna shade it really light. When I shade very light, I can always come back later to darken that part. And if you feel insecure drawing fire, just start very light. Just draw in the shapes that I make here first. And when you feel more confident about them, then you can darken the areas. And it's fire, so it can have many shapes. So once you know how to layer this, you can use it in many of your drawings, and it's very it's not that difficult. It looks way more difficult than it actually is, as long as you keep in mind that you can't have a light without dark. And that is why we draw in the dark shapes like this. Sometimes it's the dark area, it just needs to be some sort of dot like this. And sometimes you just draw like little sparks coming off. Of the flame. You know, when you have like a fire that you see those little sparks above it. We're gonna draw that as well. And it's not too difficult, but it will take a while because we gotta do this entire part. So I may eventually speed up the video, but I'm not sure. It depends on how much I talk. If I can talk you through this, I might keep it real time. Yeah, but we'll see. And again, sometimes we just need to take a step back and look at the drawing from a distance to see how it looks from a distance. And what I just saw is we're far from done. We have a lot more shading to do. And even in the darker areas, you need to leave like some room here and there, where there's also still a bit of fire. And the shape doesn't really matter, and as long as we keep the half round shapes prominent, then it will eventually start to look like a fire with a lot of smoke. And just make some shapes here and there that are a bit darker. There are sparks coming off. Or the parts that we can look through the flames. So what we do is we make small ovals with more pressure to show the, I don't know how to call that, but it's like a smoke bubble. And then we shade lighter on top with a slightly larger oval. And we're gonna leave parts of the open, so we're not gonna entirely close it. And then we're gonna shade even like that. And we'll let it overlap a little bit here and there. So we get more shapes like this. And that is what we're gonna do over and over again in this drawing. We're gonna add some shapes here as well in the what's it called? The beam. Just because the further it will be away from the dragon, the more irregular the shapes will be, the more it will spread apart, and the more will happen here. And we add some darker lines here, not all of them, because we do want to keep the contrast. And I'm not gonna draw it entirely dark here, because we still need to add the tongue, and I want the tongue to be visible through the fire. By creating light and dark lines in the beam, it will give it some more contrast. Like the fire is really coming out with a lot of force. So I just made some dark lines. And as you can see, the fire is already starting to take shape now. And we just need to make it less perfect. Small sparks are erupting from the beam here. And here as well. And also notice that all the shading I do in mostly one direction. Yeah, like I always say many times, we draw with pen, so we can't go back to erase our mistakes, and that is okay. We're making these sketches for practice, and that is how we learn. And if we would constantly stop to start erasing, we wouldn't learn how to make a fire just with what we already have, because now we're just experimenting with what works in a fire and what doesn't. And when you're drawing along with me, you probably have parts of your fire that you're happy about and parts that you're not happy about, and that way you have learned what you're gonna use in your art next time. The next time you draw a fire, you know what works and what doesn't. Because this is a shape I'm not too happy about. It just came out that way. But I'm going to try to distract from it by adding a little bit more dark things here. And fire is nothing more than it's by we draw the light by drawing the dark. So by drawing the dark areas, we automatically create the light areas of the flames. And the more dark we draw underneath, the more bright the fire will be there. And I think I can darken this area as well. It's not too difficult to draw a fire, but it's mostly patience that you need. What I'm constantly doing, I keep looking from a distance and I see if the drawing is balanced. And where I see where it still needs more dark or more light, I keep adjusting that. And this is gonna take a while. But it just requires patience. Drawing fire, it's a bit tedious, but it takes a lot of time. But well, it's tedious to some, but I also think it can be very relaxing, especially when you combine it with a dragon. As you can see, there's like a very long white path here, and that's a little bit too much, so we're gonna need to make some interruptions in that so it looks more natural. I think the fire is nearly done. If you're not happy about your fire, you can keep adding more contrast by creating dark areas next to light ones. And you can make like shade in a bit of a sea form, like you have with clouds and smoke. And you can just keep adding that. But for now we're gonna finish the dragon itself. I imagine if you spit fire, you cannot have a tongue like humans do, or like lizards have. The tongue would be below the fire spitting, I don't know, tube, is that the right word? I'm shading with straight lines very close together with a fair amount of pressure. As you can see, I hold the pen further to the tip now. And what I do, I hold it further back when I shade that, or yeah, add some black to the tongue through the fire. But the tongue is gonna be really dark because it probably is some leather-like texture. It has to be really thick and of some sort of texture that is fireproof. We can't have our dragon burn its mouth the entire time. And if you feel like you use too much black and you would want some white back, you can use a Posca white marker or a white gel pen to bring some of that back. But that's not what I'm gonna do right now. It ended up being a little bit different from the original sketch that I did of this one. Yeah, just because I felt like it. I call that my artistic license. I added some more spines or horns here, and the head is a little bit smaller and a bit better proportions, I think. Add a little bit of shading to the eye, but not too much. I could keep drawing on this one forever, but well, it is time to call it a day. And I hope you enjoyed that one. If you were drawing along and you're gonna post it on Instagram, please tag me with @Kasma, because I would really love to see it. This is the moment where I also tell you that I do have a Patreon if you want to support me or want to see more in-depth content or more real-time videos. But you are also welcome as a free member if you just want to see some more process pictures of the sketches that I make. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video and if it was helpful to you in any way. And I thank you for watching, and I hope I'll see you with the next one. Bye!